Hello, lovely people. How are you doing? Let's discuss some physiological disorders in plants. Plants are very sensitive to their environment, and there's only a small range of conditions in which a plant will grow successfully. There are five environmental factors upon which plants depend for their good growth. These are light, temperature, atmosphere, water supply, and a supply of mineral salts. If any of these conditions are abnormal, then the plant is said to suffer from a physiological disorder, mechanical and chemical injuries. Light. Poor light or lack of light causes plants to become thin, weak, drawn, and colorless, and they may fail to flower. To a certain extent, such symptoms can arise during the winters, particularly on plants growing in overcrowded greenhouses that do not receive much direct sunlight. If not too severely affected, they will recover in good light. Too high a temperature for storing or forcing bulbs can result in blindness or withering of flowers. In greenhouse, tomatoes may be affected by greenback, and many plants can show scorching of the leaves. A very hot sun can also cause scalding of fruits. Nothing can be done to prevent such troubles on outdoor plants, but careful ventilation and shading of greenhouse will protect those growing indoors. Low temperatures at night, even when frost does not occur, can cause young, sour foliage to turn silver, white, or yellow. Seedlings being particularly susceptible, cold winds can cause scorching of beech and maple leaves. If frost occurs, leaves may become distorted, especially those of apple, quince, and crystalline. The affected leaf skull and the lower leaf surfaces limp so that they can be peeled off easily. Evergreen leaves injured by frost, when in the bud or very young, becomes more and more distorted as they grow. Frost can also cause the bark to split, and in severe cases, leaves, shoots, and flowers may be killed. Little can be done to prevent frost damage in severe weather, but since weak plants suffer most, encourage vigor by susceptible cultural treatment. Do not grow tender plants in frost pockets. Protect small plants with newspaper or on-net curtains when frost in forecast. For half-hearted prevention nail, plants make protective covers by packing broken rings between wire netting. Too dry of an atmosphere can cause poor growth, bud drop, or occasionally growing of leaves. On house or greenhouse plants, those that should require a humid atmosphere should be trimmed daily in hot weather. In centrally heated houses, stand pots in large containers packed with moist moss or peat. Do not, however, place the pots in saucer of water, since this can cause compost to become waterlogged. Too moist an atmosphere encourages diseases such as grey mold, potato blade, tomato blade, and tomato leaf mold. Excessive humidity can also cause edema or dropsy, which shows as raised scab-like rocky patches on leaf. It may also affect the shoots and fruits of vines. If edema occurs, reduce the humidity of the greenhouse by careful ventilation, and when operations such as watering, syringing, and sprinkling have to be carried out, do them in the morning so that the plants can dry out before the evening. Do not remove plants showing edema because these will only make matter worse. The water supply for plants must be continuous, but the amount required for any particular stage of growth may vary. Troubles arise when the water supply is deficient, irregular, or exceeds a plant's requirement. A sudden acute deficiency of water causes plants to wilt and is likely to occur on a hot day. The following night leaves the stomata closed, transpiration is checked, and an affected plant usually recovers its turgidity by morning. No further troubles should occur if the plant is watered. However, if this happens several times, the plant may not recover. Note that wilting can occur rapidly if peat-based composts are allowed to dry out, and that such composts are very difficult to moist again. Chronic lack of water. Due to long drought results in stunting of plants which bear leaves showing yellow, red or brown tints that are similar to autumn colors. Affected leaves fall prematurely, root cap crops and fruits are very small and of poor quality. A superedict supply of water causes the development of well-characterized trouble such as blossom and root of tomato, hollow heart in potatoes, and cracking of other vegetable and fruits. Lack of water at critical times causes blindness of bulbous plants, dropping of flower, birds, flower drop of tomatoes, and withering of young cucumber fruit. Prevent all the above troubles by mulching plants well with yard manure, leaf mold, or other organic materials to conserve moisture. Water in dry periods, even in cold weather, if there are cold drying winds, and do not allow the soil to dry out completely. This is particularly important for plants growing against walls, since the soil in such positions can remain dry even in heavy rains. If prevailing wind is not in right direction, make sure that pot plants do not dry out, particularly those growing in peat post based compost. Waterlogging of soil can cause various symptoms such as edema or gelling between the veins, particularly on poor plants and yew trees. Woody plants may develop the condition known as pepper bank bark, in which the bark dries up and peels off very occasionally. Normally, gall-like structures appear on the shoots of affected plants. They indicate the development of clusters of in the foliage dieback. If in severe cases, discoloration of the foliage and dieback occur, if an affected plant is lifted, the roots are seen to be dead and show a purple or blue-black discoloration. The outer tissues may have peeled off so that the only central core of the roots are left. It is not always possible to prevent waterlogging in excess rains or even on light soils where waterlogging occurs regularly. However, incorporate some systems of drainage if possible or lift plants and raise the level of bed by about 6 in before replanting. Since this will help to improve the drainage, try to lighten the heavy soil by digging in plaintive humus and weathered ashes. However, any such treatments must be carried out over a wide area and not just in planting holes. Plants affected by waterlogging may be saved if some roots are still alive. Cut off dead and dying shoots and spray the plant with a foliar feed throughout the growing season. Mineral salts. Many food materials are required by plants, and most of them are never likely to be deficient, except perhaps in plants that are growing in some soil less composed and are not fed correctly. Certain nutrients are required in relatively large quantities. These are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, calcium, sulfur, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These are known as macro or major nutrients. Other nutrients are just as important but are required in much smaller quantities. They are known as minor or trace elements or micronutrients and include iron, manganese, boron, molybdenum, zinc, and copper. In gardens, deficiency of specific major nutrients are less likely to occur than general malnutrition. Due to neglect, most trees and shrubs, include those of fruit crops and also some perennial herbaceous plants, will benefit from annual application of complete fertilizers ranked in at 3 Oz per square yard in spring. Where plants are growing in grass, the fertilizers should be applied at double the normal rate. However, a better method of feeding them is to lift the small pieces of turf at intervals around the circumstances of plant a foot or so beyond the outermost spread of the branches. Then place a handful of fertilizer in each hole, water this in and replace the turfs. Some type of plants require higher quantity of certain food materials than others.